Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to Proline, the longest-running sports handicapping show in America, direct from Las Vegas. I'm John Cranton, joined by world champion handicapper Jim Feist. It is Wednesday, got week 4 of the NFL preseason coming up. All the games on Thursday. Got some college football, too, going on this weekend. We're going to give you some free selection, some analysis, and talk about some of the line movement going on. First, Jim Feist, another one of those inner circle releases, a high-end release yesterday with the San Diego Padres. Big winner. That's a 54-35 electric run with these plays.
Well, John, it's been one of those seasons where some things are going well and other things aren't. I mean, I like to be honest with the folks out there. You know, every year isn't a bonanza, but we have been especially good with these plays, and we're very proud of that record. There's other things that haven't been so good, but you have to take the good with the bad and focus on the good. This is for anybody, whether you're a sports bettor, a handicapper. Stay with what's working. You know, you can't always force it. You know, if you're doing good in college football, stick with college football, because if your pros are choppy, don't try to force it. Up your plays in the colleges and lessen your plays in the pros. The same thing in baseball. If your totals are going well, stick with the totals. You know, vice versa. You just have to be smart. And that's what we do. That's why we survive. Because after 50 years, almost 50 years of doing this, you're going to have your ups and downs in different categories, and you got to know where your strengths are at that moment.
That's right. And Jim has another one of those inner circle releases going tonight. You can get that on the website. And when you purchase it, just click in Jim50, JAM50, and you get 50% off that and every other play on the package site that you purchased. All right, we got the NFL games coming up this weekend, week 4, the week where they historically don't play everybody, but that's not quite the case with some teams this weekend. Jim, kind of a wacky weekend, too. We got one game already canceled because of the tragedy going on. The Houston-Dallas game has been canceled. And then the Carolina Panthers have some interesting news with Ron Rivera saying he's not sure how Cam Newton's going to perform coming back from that shoulder surgery. He's been erratic in practice. They did get him out there a little bit, but even Rivera admitted not going to know how he is until he gets out there in week 1.
Well, you know, he's gonna be a project, because, you know, he's made a lot of headway in his career, both college and pros, with his legs. He's a big guy. He's about 6'5", weighs a lot. He can bowl over a lot of defenders, but that requires taking a lot of hits as a runner. Now, he's not going to be able to take that kind of pounding throughout his career, or he's going to have surgery after surgery. The one thing about Carolina is they have some pretty good backups. And preseason, I don't think it matters too much. The question is what happens in the regular season, which is what I'm sure he's concerned with, because these games don't count unless you happen to bet on them and you win or lose. So then it does count. Now, I wasn't impressed with Cam. Of course, last year he was a little off. Years before, he was absolutely amazing. But there's the touch pass issue, the running issue, the shoulder issue, a lot of issues. The guy's an athlete. He thinks he's stronger than he is, because those guys on defense will beat you up if you're going to have to run. If he has to run the ball to be successful, his career might come to an end very quickly.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah, he's one of the dual threat quarterbacks that NFL teams are, in a sense, they're looking to go that direction, to have a multi-purpose attack. On the other hand, guys like Brady and even Andrew Luck, they're not that mobile, but they can still lead pro-style attacks and win Super Bowls, as we just saw, and with Matt Ryan, too. So it is kind of a new way of looking at things. Teams want quarterbacks that are multi-threats. On the other hand, there's nothing wrong with the old style either that gets it done. All right, before we go to the more NFL games, we've got the Vikings game we're going to talk about. I just want to jump in on a college football game that's going on Thursday. This Buffalo-Minnesota game is interesting. Quite a bit of line movement on it Thursday night. Totals come way down, 53-50, and the total went down 53-50, and the side has gone on the underdog here, 28-25. And, you know, I agree with the total, but not necessarily the side, because this Buffalo program, they're stepping up in competition here against the Big Ten. They've been rebuilding, winning 5-2 games these last 3 years. They were last in the MAC in points scored last season, and the run defense was worst in the country, 124th. They stepped up once last year. That was against the ACC in Boston College. They got steamrolled 35-3. They're on a 4-11 spread run. And I like what I see with this Minnesota team. They were very good last year, winning 9 games. They bring in a new coach in P.J. Fleck, who was a sought-after coach. He did a dynamite job turning Western Michigan around from 1 win, and then a couple of winning seasons and a terrific 13-1 campaign going to a bowl game to play Wisconsin. They are working in a new quarterback, which is partly why you probably see the line coming down here from 28 to 25. However, they get 2 backfield studs who run the ball exceptionally well in Rodney Smith and Shannon Brown. And this MAC team, Buffalo, can't stop the run. So Minnesota at home, they probably are going to be able to run the ball exceptionally well. So I don't agree with the home team going against the home team here in this one. All right, let's get back to the NFL. You got the Vikings at home here, second straight home game. They're playing the Dolphins, Jim, a team that opened with 2 straight home games. Now their second straight road game. Not seeing a lot of line movement in this, but the Vikings 3-point favorite with a total of 38. And the Minnesota coach hinted he's not going to take the starters off this week.
Well, it's a tough problem I mean, they looked absolutely horrible against San Francisco last week. San Francisco's trying to win these games. And I see that across the board in the NFL this year. The teams that and we expect that are not going to be very good, they're actually trying pretty hard in the preseason, and they're cashing some tickets. And you saw that with San Francisco last week. You're seeing with the Bears a little bit. Even the Jets have cashed a ticket. So you're seeing it across the board with the really bad teams and the good teams. I mean, Minnesota and Zimmer has always been really good in preseason. Incredible, actually.
Yeah.
But when Zimmer looks out there and he sees this player going down and that player going down, not only from his team, but from other teams, there's a lot of doubt about what's going to happen if he goes out there with his starters and plays them hard. So he's given out a couple mixed messages. Once he says, I'm not going to go with my starters, and he pulls them. Now this week he's saying, it was so bad last week in San Francisco, I have to play some of these starters. I'm not 100% sure he's going to stick with either one of those comments. Therefore, I'm not going to get involved. If I was going to get involved, I'd probably play the dog, but I'm not going to get involved.
Yeah, the only thing he alluded to as far as being open about something would be that he wasn't happy with last week's performance. They did score 32 points, but the first team offense just hasn't scored anything here in preseason. So you can understand his thinking. On the other hand, week 1 in September is the bigger play for this team. So yeah, that's a good point. They are Minnesota 9-3 straight up, 8-4 against the spread. Another team that just kind of laid an egg last week was the Tennessee Titans. They're on the road this week against Kansas City, 3-point dog on the road with a total of 38. But boy, they didn't play that well against the Bears at home, getting only 7 points from the starting unit.
Oh, they absolutely are. I wrote a piece the other day. I think you got that, John, a little bit of a blog on the Titans. I thought the Titans would win this division pretty easily. They have a solid running game. The offensive line looks impressive. Mariota, I was expecting to have come back this year and have a really good year. And the solid coaching staff, I feel.
Oh, yeah.
But, boy, I tell you, they looked rough. And, I mean, there's nothing in this division that really inspires me. You got Andrew Luck. Nobody knows. I mean, it's like a secret spy story or something with him. We don't know when or if he's going to play. And then you got Houston. They got Savage. They say he's the starter and he's the guy. And he's the one that has a little bit of experience, but I've never been a big O'Brien fan in the pros. I think he's left his team hanging dry. He's been a quarterback killer, at least that. Of course, he hasn't had the best, but now he drafts high. But so I'm not, and of course, Bortles and the Jacksonville Jaguars. I'm not. So this is a wide open division. I still think Tennessee's the right side for the division. As far as this game is concerned, I don't, if they're practicing well, and this is another game I'm not going to get involved in. If I was, I can see, I respect this line move. It opened at a key spot that I watch, 3.5 minus 07. And it's down to 3 plus 01. That says to me that the money that moved that came in on the Titans. So what probably is happening here is the Titans, because they looked so bad last week, they might want to go out there with their starters and show a little bit. Where Kansas City probably, with that big game coming up, I mean, guess who they play on Thursday night? It's New England in New England.
Good luck.
So they're going to have to, they might just, settle back and say, okay, we're not going to do much in this game. We're going to get ready for New England. Maybe we'll throw a couple guys out there for a few plays in the first quarter, and that'll be it. So it's probably the right side with Tennessee.
Yeah.
That would be the only thing I would do. I do respect that line move, and I understand the psychology behind it.
Yeah, one of the things historically about Week 4 in preseason is the home teams are going to be the favorite, and they historically really don't get the money as much. And it's just a difficult week to handicap as well as for the odds makers to put money on. The biggest game as far as line that we have for this week is a home team. Carolina Panthers, we're a 4.5 point favorite, 4 now against Pittsburgh. That's a big number for Week 4 preseason. And the biggest line movement on the board happens to be with a total. Get this Arizona-Denver game. Total went from 38.5. I'm seeing some 35.5. Kind of makes sense in that both teams are really loaded with defensive talent across the board. The Denver quarterback situation is just a huge question mark. And then there's the vanilla game plans for Week 4. Do these teams really care about showing too much on offense? But again, that is a low total for preseason.
Well, these guys are both contenders to win their division, the Cardinals and the Broncos, and there's really no reason at this point. They both know who their starting quarterback is. They just want to keep people healthy. Maybe throw a couple sharp plays out there in the beginning. And you got to remember, though, the squads are lighter this week because they've had some cuts. They've cut down quite a bit. Now, so the line move has gone from 3.5 down to 2.5 and 2 in other places. Actually, I do see a 1.5. So basically, this game is going to almost come down to pick 'em. And remember, in preseason, the coaches don't go for ties in overtime because they don't want to play overtime. So 3 is not that strong a number to have. So if you're laying 2.5, that's what you want. If you're taking 3, it's probably not going to matter because I'd rather have 3 than not. I would rather have 3 than 2.5. But you got to remember, they're not going to be going for field goals to tie the game at the end of the game. But I would like to mention another game that moved, and you didn't bring it up. San Francisco opened 1, and now it's 3 heading to 3.5. They're playing the Chargers. San Francisco's been playing hard. I mean, they played hard last week against the Vikings. They played hard in 2 of the 3 games that they played. And, they got that young coaching staff against the Chargers. This doesn't mean anything to the Chargers. The Chargers have boy, there's a lot of question marks around this, especially since they moved out of their city. Now they're the LA Chargers. And so this looks to me like I respect this move. This is a big move. You go from 1 -07 to 3 -15. That's a big move. And I would have to say, if I'm going to give you guys a play, if you can still find somebody out there less than 3, boy, I think that's a bet.
All right, and if you want to get free plays every day on a recorded message from our Vegas experts, it's free. Just pick up the phone and call 888-294-1970. Jim, there's another way they can get them right to their cell phone every single day.
This is the easiest way. You don't have to deal with telephone calls. Just text GAME, G-A-M-E, to 64600.
All right, that'll do it for the Wednesday edition of Proline. We'll be back on Thursday to examine all the games as well as some more college football. Good luck with the games, everyone, and we'll see you then.